straight ahead, got my head in the game, with the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change, keep my head down low.
Hi, I'm Jay Fallon. This is The Slippery Slope. So, I happen to know quite a few people that work within early childhood industry, whether it be daycare, kindy. Uh, I know quite a few people that work in the industry. And a few years ago, I'd been told that so-called experts were pushing this agenda where they were wanting to see childcare workers, daycare workers, ask for consent from children before changing their nappy, changing a dirty diaper. So, and I'm talking like babies, like 6 month old baby, soiled themselves. Now, I'm a father. My children are obviously adults now, but I changed a few nappies. Changed a few nappies. I sure as heck did not ask my children, "Hey, do you want me to change your nappy?" Because I'm the adult. I know as an adult that you cannot leave a child in a soiled nappy. You need to change it because it's not good for the child, believe it or not. Now, I'm not proclaiming to be some expert, some father expert, some expert on little children, especially when my children were little, and I was a lot younger and sillier. But I sure as flip knew that you didn't ask permission. If a child had soiled their nappy, you changed the nappy. Because one, you don't want your child to get a rash, get sick. You don't want, you know, you want to look after your child. It's your job, your duty to look after the child. So when I was told that this is a couple of years ago that there were now experts that were saying, "Hey, we need to," they were pushing this agenda where you ask permission before changing a nappy. Well, this is absolutely ludicrous, stupid. No. So I'm going to look at this video quickly, and the reason why this video is a few years old now, but the reason why I'm talking about this is because, when we allow these voices, these so-called experts, to come in and they make these, and they're pushing their woke ideology. When we allow it to come in and voices of reason don't push back and don't push back to our government, say, no, no, this is stupid. This is woke ideology. We don't need it. This is not common sense. And if we don't push back, well, then we start to see we give them an inch and they just take a mile constantly. And that's what we're seeing now. People, the voice of reason, maturity, people who don't call themselves experts, but, have a little bit of experience in life, I think we haven't pushed back hard enough. We haven't stood up and pushed back against woke ideologies that are starting to really permeate our whole society. And when we've heard about these things, like asking a 6 month old, 1 month old, whatever baby for permission before changing a nappy, because the person with common sense just says, well, that's just absolutely ridiculous, and we ignore it. But then we like I said, it seems it just continues to flow, and they just take an inch and take another inch and just keeps growing and growing. So let's watch this video. Then I want to get into something else, which is even crazier. But I think it's because we don't speak up enough when we see stupidity being voiced, and we're told, "Oh, this is the voice of experts." Let's check out this video together. This is a few years old, like I said. So, and this came through on the ABC years ago. But what can you say? You can't expect any more from the ABC, I don't think.
Yeah.
How young are some of the children you talk to?
We work from children from 3 years old. We work with parents from birth.
From birth?
Yeah,
From birth, from birth.
yeah. Just about how to set up a culture of consent in their homes. So I'm going to change your nappy now. Is that okay? Of course, the baby's not going to respond, yes, mum, that's awesome. I'd love to have my nappy changed. But if you leave a space and wait for body language and wait to make eye contact, then you're letting that child know that their response matters.
Now, I'm no expert, and I've only got two children. Okay. And it's been a long time since I've actually changed nappies. But you know what? Go, go back to what this so-called expert with the beautiful purple hair.
In their home. So I'm going to change your nappy now. Is that okay? Of course, the baby's not going to respond. Yes, mum, that's awesome. I'd love to have my nappy changed. But if you leave a space and wait for body language and wait to make eye contact, then you're
If you leave a space, you're changing a nappy. Oh my goodness. Like I said, this came out a few years ago, and the agenda is being pushed even harder now. If you leave a space for a baby, like I said, I'm no expert. I've only had two children. I did change a few nappies, but I do know that for child, a baby, you're a father, you're the mother, your baby's just been born. A week later, you're supposed to be like just leaving a space. Just leave a space. Leave a space for the baby to know. The baby doesn't know a stinking thing, you idiots. But we don't speak up and say, hey, this is absolute stupidity. How am I leaving a space for my baby to feel? All the baby feels is discomfort because it has a soiled nappy. But yet we allow these people who call themselves experts to come in and speak into our lives, speak into families, speak into childcare, daycare, and then push this woke ideology, push this agenda, which is not warranted within our nation, within a culture, within a nation that should be just a bit more, have a bit more common sense. The problem is when we don't speak up about these things, which, okay, she even knows. She knows when she's saying it that it's absolute stupidity. That's why she kind of chuckles to herself and she looks a little embarrassed. Oh, of course, the baby's not going to respond. Of course, I know that. We all know that. The baby can't respond. The baby doesn't understand. The baby's not going to feel whether you're making a space. You're making a space for the baby to get eye contact and to respond. She knows that, but she's stupid. She doesn't have any wisdom. I'm sorry for insulting her, but that's the fact. And the problem, and we, people with common sense, don't speak up enough. So here's the issue that I see at the moment. So, so fast forward a couple of years. That video was taken in 2018. It's now 2024. This agenda is being pushed more heavily within the childcare daycare industry now. They are really pushing ahead, trying to bring this in across the board that childcare workers, daycare workers would get consent, okay, from babies before changing their nappy. What else is happening? But this is the other issue. I'm going to bring this up. A friend had sent this to me, and this friend of mine had, well, he was enrolling his child, his 4-year-old in kindy, I think it was. Anyway, I'll bring it up for you to have a look at and see. This is the kind of nonsense now that's being pushed. Gender identity. So the child, I've crossed all this out so you don't see the identity of this child or anything, but the birth date of this child was in 2020. So it was a 4-year-old boy, 4-year-old boy. And you get to choose, is this 4-year-old female, male, non-binary, trans female, or trans male? I'm sorry if you're listening to the podcast and you can't see the video, but so I've got this picture up and that's what it's saying. Gender identity, and you've got choices. How does a 4-year-old identify non-binary? Non-binary is not reality. It's not reality. These woke ideologists can push this stupidity saying non-binary, but there is. Binary means there's only two things, two choices. It's male or female. It's binary. Trans, a 4-year-old trans female, trans male. The only and then you've got another space and it says for what are the pronouns. This is what happens when you allow woke ideology to just keep going and you don't speak up about it, speak up against it. And these parents, because it's not the 4-year-old. Now, very luckily for this young boy, his father has a lot of common sense. Okay. And he knows his stupidity and he doesn't allow that kind of rot into his family. But we have so many parents, so many fathers and mothers that allow this stupidity, this disgusting rot into into their into their family life. They've taken a hold of this woke ideology and accepted it, and they are teaching it to their young children. It's not reality. It's not healthy. But not enough people speak up against it. Not enough people push back against it. We've got elections coming up here in this nation. We need to be speaking up against these things. Years ago, they were pushing, getting consent from little babies before you change the nappy. No one really said anything because people with common sense think, well, this is absolute stupidity. Obviously, that doesn't really matter. Obviously, you don't need to do this, but they don't say enough. And then you fast forward a few years, and now you've got kindies asking for the gender identity and what the pronouns are for a 4-year-old. And the only way a 4-year-old would even have any clue about trans anything is if the parents are teaching it. People need to speak up. We've got elections coming up. We need to voice our concerns and voice our wisdom against this evil, woke ideology because it's going to ruin our children. It is ruining our society. Just because someone calls themselves an expert doesn't mean, actually, I've come to the conclusion that if someone is on TV and they've got the word expert on screen, I think it actually means that they're a flippin' idiot. This is what happens when we accept woke ideologies and we don't speak out against it. And this is what happens when our society has walked away from God, walked away from biblical principles. We don't stand up for basic morality and speak out against what is wrong. That's my opinion. Voice your opinion and don't be silent when you see something that is plainly stupid being pushed by, people on the ABC. Let's just say it that way. That's my opinion. You let me know what you think. I'm Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to the Slippery Slope.
They just fuel the desire that will take me higher.